My days of being a dude are done. Tracy's just days away from giving birth to our first child. I'm going to be a dad now, and everything is about to change. Hey, my name's David, and this channel is about self-improvement for young men who want to live a life by design. Self-improvement has been a big part of my whole life, and I've certainly made a lot of mistakes. So with our first baby on the way, I want to share what it's like for a man to face this great change. As far back as I can remember, I was never quite sure if I wanted to have kids or not. A big part of my upbringing was influenced by left-leaning, democratic, environmental ideologies, the kind of conversations that center around overpopulation, maybe should not have kids, reduce individual impact on the environment and all that. But then more recently, a few years ago, I became exposed to more conservative values and viewpoints. One of the things that they all say the same thing is getting married and having kids is one of the greatest things that has happened in their lives. So after hearing that many times, it started to sink in, and I thought, why would I want to skip out on one of the greatest things in life? So now I want to talk about some of the things that I might be missing from my days as a dude. There was a lot of good times. Mostly as an alcoholic, I spent my 20s and 30s, the last 22 years, drinking alcohol and partying, going out with the boys, chasing ladies, and just living life in the moment and being kind of a wild child. But as I said before, self-improvement has always been a big part of my life, so it's kind of ironic. So at like nighttime, I would be drinking. During the daytime, I'd be drinking green smoothies, trying to improve my health, learning about deep breathing, and reading a lot of books. So one of the things I might miss from my days as a dude is just all the time available. And then, of course, there was the 4 years where I spent hitchhiking. Much of that 4 years, I would just pack a backpack with no money and no destination and just hit the highway. I'd travel around the whole western side of the United States. That was an experience that I'll never forget. I guess independence in general was a hallmark of all of those years, just doing what I want, when I want, wherever I wanted, because I think it goes without saying that independence has to be kind of secondary to the primary responsibility of a parent to nurture a child, bringing it into the world. So we have some uncertain times ahead. If there was anything that I was afraid of, I've got a couple of things I'll share with you. The first one is the arc of pregnancy. It seems exponential the way I see it. It's like an exponential curve. When the pregnancy first started, not much was changing. But as the last couple of months and especially the last few days have gone, obviously she's getting bigger. Things seem to be getting real. And one of the things that I think is on everyone's mind is the pregnancy going to go okay? Because anything could happen. We're hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. A big one that I think might be on any man's mind is diapers. Kind of disgusting, not really looking forward to it. But I think that'll just be one of those things that comes with reps. The more times I do it, the more comfortable I'll be with it. But as currently, it disgusts me. A big one, maybe the biggest one, is financial responsibility. That's always been an uncertainty in my life. I was born into poverty. I've never had much. So now with the baby on the way, it's going to be more expenses that we can look forward to. Peace and quiet has always been important to me. So the last chapter of my life, one of the things that I've loved most is to be in quiet environments. With independence, if an environment is loud or unpleasant, I can remove myself. With the baby on the way, it's going to introduce some more noise. A big part of self-improvement in my life has been the effective management of time. So an uncertainty looking ahead for me is time management. Without a kid, obviously, I can pop things into the calendar however I want, but the baby's going to have its own schedule. So that's an uncertainty that makes me a little bit anxious, is how am I going to be able to manage time to be as productive as I like to be with my creative projects? Something that Tracy and I connected on from the very beginning is we both are interested in minimalism. We like simplicity in all things, and so we're very clean and organized. We like to keep our spaces beautiful and symmetrical. So introducing a baby into the environment is going to bring on more stuff. So continuing to practice minimalism or essentialism is something that we're very interested to see how that plays out with the kid. But even more than the things that I'm uncertain about, there's a lot more that I'm looking forward to. So my astrology sign is an Aries, and as an Aries, I tend to think that I can do things better than most people. So over the years, I've observed other parents and their techniques, things that are less than excellent, ineffective, things that I don't want to do, and that's valuable stuff. So I'll be taking those lessons and integrating them into the way I perform as a dad raising a kid. It reminds me of chapter 5 from 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson, which is don't let your children do anything that will make you dislike them. That's an amazing read. If you haven't read that book, I'll put the link in the description. You should check it out. I loved it before I was a parent, and I'll certainly be referencing it again and making a video on it too, because I can think of more than a few kids in my life that I just do not want to be around. So that shows me that the parents have over time let their kids get away with things that result in them not being liked out there in the public sphere. And that's like probably one of the worst things ever, to put your kid out into society and have them rejected by other people. Because if strangers are rejecting your kid and you're supposed to be the one who loves them the most, then what does that say? And quite honestly, one of the things I'm looking forward to the most is getting rid of my dad bod. Over the last few years, I've really let myself slip into patterns of laziness, straight up lack of discipline. So I'd really like the start of this new chapter to be a renewed opportunity for me to learn how to be the kind of person who is accountable to others, like the kid, and lead by a better example. Because I would love for my kid to respect me, to look up to me, and to follow my example. And it shouldn't be one of laziness and the kind of bad habits that I've let myself get away with from too much freedom in the previous chapter. But above all else, and perhaps most of all, I'm looking forward to the mysteries that this new chapter brings, because when we talk about fear and uncertainty in life, it's really just the unknown of the future. But with the right kind of attitude, I mean, isn't that core in self-improvement? With the right kind of emotional state and mental attitude, we can approach and enter into new chapters, the uncertain moments, the mysteries of life with optimism and openness. So no matter what happens, we can make the choice to engage and learn from whatever ends up happening. So growing up and becoming a man brings a lot of responsibility. Self-improvement is a choice. Discipline is a choice, and commitment is a choice. Marriage is important. Kids and family are big decisions. But how do we learn what it takes to make these choices? Like, when should we quit something or stick with it even when it sucks? Well, to learn that, go ahead and click here and watch a video I made on mastering the art of making important decisions in life.